Hello and welcome to the Bold Black Girls Podcast. I'm Aries.
And I am Kim.
Hello, Kim.
Hello, Aries. So it is, I cannot believe, the second week of August.
We're here.
We are here. So tell me, you usually check in with me. How are you doing?
I will say I'm doing good. I think like I had a conversation with God today. Like a real
Come to Jesus.
Yeah, it was like a real conversation. Like I'm like, okay, I think I'm doing good, but like there are some things that I need clarity on. I need direction on. I need to really lean in and get guidance from him on as far as like work and parenting. Like, undertaking this homeschool thing is not a lot to play with. So I just want to really, really lean into God, and get my guidance from him on what I need to be doing. I feel like that's something that we were watching. Remember Darius Daniels this morning in his sermon was talking about when you could tell somebody's relationship with God by how they talk to him, and I'll be like so raw with it. Like it's not super fancy, when I pray, I'll be like, okay, Lord, like for real, struggling, with this right here. I need help. Like I need you to tell me what's what. So that's how I talk to him. And so I'm thinking that, with me, I get really busy a lot. And I think that helps me to just kind of deal with things. I will sign up for something or volunteer to do something or whatever. And I can't do as much. So I'm trying to just really pray about what I need to be giving my attention to. And then back away from some stuff and maybe start some other things. I don't know yet. So I'm just kind of trying to get some clarity around things. But like I feel like my mental health is good.
Okay.
I think emotionally, I'm not sure yet. It's a little shaky because there are moments, girl, where like today I was watching something and I get into this I just get sad, about the state of the world and like just people and the evil and the hatred. It affects me. It's like right now, maybe we're not in the height of what we were in, a couple months ago when George Floyd and everything. Everybody was just talking about this all day. It's still happening. It's still there. Yes. It's still issues. So
remnants of it. And it has always been there even before George Floyd. It was just amplified.
Exactly.
At that moment. And it's not, it's like, where are we with it? Like, what are the next steps? So, cause I'm feeling like you. I know, like in the beginning, we were like, oh, I'm good. I'm good in terms of, cause I know we're sheltering in place, and there are people who are struggling with still being sheltering in place. I feel like I'm enjoying being at home. My introvert has come out like more so than the extrovert, because I think we kind of straddle between the ambient. We're the ambivert. We're in the middle. And honestly, I just feel like my energy has been a little different, and I don't know what it is. And I've kind of been talking to God too, like, what are you? And I think it's too from that trip when we had all that stuff that happened to me. I'm like, what are you trying to bring to me? What are you trying to teach me? What is the lesson? What should I be doing? And I've been a little off.
All the pastors are talking about waiting right now, which isn't it a trip though? Like it seems like they'll be right in sync. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna hear that as the Spirit of God speaking to, because it'll be like the same Sunday. That's the message this week, and it's like y'all didn't talk. Like y'all didn't talk before.
Not only that, we're doing a Bible plan on that you invited me to.
Yes, so that was inspired by Pastor Conway's Waiting series that he did before he went on his
hiatus,
sabbatical, whatever you want to call it. But then TD Jakes is doing some stuff on that as well, right now. And then it just like, it's different things that I feel like God uses to speak to us.
I agree.
That's where you got to be in tune with the spirit to see, like, let me piece this together. Like, this could be him talking to me right now on things that I need to be doing.
Exactly.
So that's kind of where I feel.
So maybe we're probably on the same wavelength. Difference in me is I'm not going to take on more. I'm going to try and take on less when I'm kind of in that season, because sometimes I need to, we talked about sitting in it and being still. I need to be still and listen and look to see what it is, right? So for me, I'm still continuing with the less is more, even more so less. I mean, I've had a few people call. It was like, hey, well, you haven't been posting on social media. Where are you? Are you okay? I'm fine, but I'm just chilling, right? It's in it. And I want people to know, because, and we talked about this before, it's not you, it's me, right?
Yes.
And we sometimes think it's us, but you don't know what that person's kind of dealing with or what they're working through. And then I got a text yesterday that a good friend of mine has lung cancer. So then I'm just like, how am I over here, feeling this way? This person over here dealing with lung cancer. So I'm like, wake up, Kim. You have so much to be grateful for. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, oh my gosh, heal my friend.
Yes, everyone has something. Everyone has a thing, and Paul said his it was like a thorn in his flesh that stayed with him. It stayed with all the preaching and teaching and everything that he did. It still was there. Like, there's always a thing, it's always something that we're going to have. And I think God does that for a reason, kind of to keep us humble, to keep us really recognizing that of all the things he, and what was that? Was that Pastor? Was that TD Jakes? I don't know. He was like, if it's a thing, he could. Did we talk about that last week? I feel like we talked about it, but like, it's like any noun, he can handle it.
Yes,
he can handle it, and we got to just keep remembering to go back to him when we feel this way, when we're feeling, a certain tension, or we're feeling low emotionally or mentally, going through things, relying on him and leaning on him during this time. And yeah, I mean, because it's you just hear bad news so much, like you just said with your friend, and if it's not coronavirus, it's the racial,
social
tension
injustice
and all this stuff,
and that's
on.
Exactly, and that's ongoing. I mean, you got the NBA, and I think the Major League Baseball, they're back. I'm loving the Black Lives Matter shirt. I want one.
I haven't watched one thing.
So I did. I actually watched it yesterday. I watched the Mavs play, because I'm like, we don't have that's some form of normalcy, right? And so I'm like, okay, Kim, you got to snap out of it. Like, I feel like I'm good emotionally. I'm good, but I'm not at my optimal best.
Well,
right?
we're in a pandemic. We're in a pandemic.
So we have to give ourselves grace in this season, because we're coping with COVID. That's my new thing. I'm coping with COVID. And even though, I got a new job at the beginning of the pandemic, that's all fine and dandy, but it's like we're still dealing with the pandemic, social injustice. So I'm even joining some committees internally at my new job about social injustice, so I can be the change I want to see within my company. But that can be draining too.
Girl, we had a meeting last week, and I was like, because just talking about it, sometimes I get emotional.
Yes.
And I'm emotionally connected to the subject matter. So when I hear things that cause me to have to feel like I'm defending, it gets me all tingly in the heart,
Yes.
And I felt that last week, during our meeting, and I was like, okay, calm, like, get it calm, because we're passionate, I get passionate about this subject. And so, yeah, it's draining, but let me flip this into a positive.
Good.
So this week I will be moderating a panel with DFW Alliance of Technology and Women and Capital One. So
that's right.
This is gonna be, what is it called? How to be
virtually networking.
What's it called though? It's called How to Be a Connector or something like that in
Yes, I'm
2020.
looking forward to it. I know we had talked about some questions, and that's another thing. Everything is virtual, right? Which I'm not upset about.
Oh, I'm not
I'm
either.
Now I will say this: there are some things that I miss, like church, women's conference, but some things I'm okay with being virtually. As a matter of fact, I think I attended a virtual event this week, and I was networking my butt off virtually.
And
So
that's why
it
you better
actually,
be having your butt in the chat room when I do this panel, because that is what, so I like talking about things that I'm interested in. Like this to me is really the
yes,
subjects that I would like to talk about normally is with
yes,
people, building relationships. I don't want to talk about race all the time. I don't want to talk about politics. It's just certain stuff that you be like, we gotta talk about it, but I don't want to talk about it. These are
exactly.
subjects where I'm like, this is super interesting. It's outside
Yes.
of all these boxes that people try to put you in. Um, so I got to meet with the speakers last week, and I learned so much about each one of their story that I got even more excited about having the conversation, because I'm like, oh, this is going to be a great combo. So basically, we're going to be talking to anybody out there that feels like you're either struggling to make connections right now, you need to build your network, and you have not done that yet, and now we're in a pandemic and you're like, well, how am I meet people and all that. Or even people like, I'm in a sales role, right? So we've had to change
Right.
our way of how we're connecting with our customers because we're not going face to face anymore. So that's the subject that we're
Right.
going to be talking about. I think it's a subject that when we read that book, Relational Intelligence, and I'm in the middle of rereading Never Eat Alone. Never Eat Alone. I'm also
Mhm.
in the middle of reading. I have like 3 books going right now. Never Split the Difference. It's about learning about people, and the needs of each person is different. And now that we're virtual, it is going to challenge a lot of your typical ways and your requests that you may have for people,
Yes.
and
Oh,
how you give, and how all that kind of stuff. So it's an interesting topic. We could put a link in the notes for those who when you're hearing this, it's tomorrow. So
right. And I would encourage you to attend. I wholeheartedly agree with you about networking. Networking is how I think both of us were able to get our jobs. Well, it was one of the factors in getting the job, right?
exactly.
And I know I used a referral, but it was a referral that I cultivated a relationship with, that I even continue to cultivate that
Same.
relationship with. And so I think now more so than ever, like, to me, it's not super hard, but that's me. Um, but you should cultivate those relationships with people genuinely and authentically, because you never know when you may need someone,
The
right?
lady who I
And
got
it
the
may.
referral, the lady who I got the referral from for my job,
Mhm.
it was just repeated being kind. It wasn't like we had this super in-depth relationship. We didn't have that prior to. It was
Yes.
like I would see her, hey, how are you? Da, da, da. And when we see each other, we were kind, we're nice, we speak, it was something that subtle. And then she overheard me saying something, and then it turned into a whole other conversation. Some of them are people we might see on a regular at different monthly events or different things. And you just are being nice to people, and then you'll learn things. And then sometimes what'll happen is I'll hear something, and then I'll meet somebody else and be like, I met somebody who does that. I need to connect y'all, or whatever. And
Connect.
then I'll make a connection, or somebody made a connection with me and somebody because of the same reason. It's just how it works. It's not like you're going out
So,
there trying to be all salesy and
yes.
collect business cards. That's not what
Yes.
this is about. And then when you're looking for a job specifically, that's what the pool you need to be going into. Not You're not going to sift through those cards. You're going to be sifting through people in your network that
Yes.
you've made connections with, because they're the ones that are be like, hey, they're hiring over here, blah blah blah. Oh, and another reason you need to come to the event on Thursday, tomorrow, is Capital One is hiring, and so they're going to be hosting staying after in the networking hour to meet people. So if you're in transition,
wow,
you may want to pop up. So just putting that out there. But yeah, I had to change the tone a little bit. So
I'm glad you did change that tone. We needed that. And I mean, like I said, I think we're doing okay. And I think I'm proud of you because you've been walking every day, pretty much. You've been getting
4 days a week. 4 days a week.
Yes. And I would say that walking has definitely helped me. It allows me to reflect, do some introspection. But going back to that networking, that's important.
It is. Building relationships.
And you have to be creative. You have to be intentional. And I love what you just said, being kind, because you never know when you may need that referral. What experience or memory did you leave that person with that, oh, I treated you bad on this project, but hey, can you refer me for that job? You weren't kind to me. You weren't kind to me. So what makes you think I want to refer you? And I know.
Do not burn bridges, people. That's all I got to say. Do not burn no bridges because you never know when they come back around. Multiple times. I just recently started like applying. I rarely apply for jobs. Like I would apply out of a just kind of to do it. But the way I typically got my jobs was through referral and through previous relationships or previous employers, you know, that moved to somewhere else and brought me with them.
And brought you along because you left them with an experience, a positive experience.
So you got to be very careful with how you leave a company, how you treat a customer. I mean, there's times when you have customers that may hit you up and say, hey, you know, I like the way that you work with me or the services you provided. Like, I'm hiring, you want another job? You know, I've had customers offer me jobs and I left. That's how I got to AT&T. It was a customer from Washington Mutual that hit me up. So it's like, that is being kind to people it goes a very long way. Especially when you don't have anything to gain in that situation, you're just learning to be a leader by serving and by just being nice to people. Like if I have a way I can help you, I'm going to help you. I'm not even thinking about how you're going to pay me back or do whatever.
Exactly. That's another thing. That's a great point. People don't do things to expect something in return. And you made a good point, like how you treat your customers and whatnot, but also how you treat your coworkers, because you never know when you may need that coworker, internally or externally.
Yes, it's all connected, I think. And that's what makes my heart kind of just heavy when it comes to all this other stuff, because it's so much evil, right? And it's like kindness is, you know, kindness, it's all connected to God. Like when you get back to the end of it, it's like just being nice to people and treating everybody the same, from the janitor to the president. That's what my grandma used to always, that was her little line. Treat the janitor and the president the same. They all the same. You know, she always was really big on that. And it's the truth. It's just the truth. So
and kindness shouldn't be connected by color. You should be kind just because.
Just period. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. Your role has nothing to do with it. Honestly, the best leaders are ones that can relate to their people the most. That when you realize it, that they're going to work harder for you as a leader when they know that you're willing to be right there with them. And you know, what is that? Simon Sinek has a book called Leaders Eat Last.
Yes,
you're giving to them, they're going to want to give back to you. So it all just kind of is in this whole cycle of, you know, ways to, if it was probably like a secret to success, that would be the secret, is being kind to folks.
You know, and I know kindness has gotten me a long way, and kindness has gotten me free appetizers and desserts too. So I know, you know, just like you said, I guess that could be actually one of our call to actions, is just be kind, especially now more than ever.
Yeah.
All right. So we've talked about, we checked in, we're doing okay, and we're working our way back up. I am spending my time listening to different podcasts. I know you're reading. I recently listened to Michelle Obama.
Me too. I listened today.
And kind of tying into what we talked about, she had said she has low grade depression, which is why I wanted to bring that up. Like, I know we sometimes idolize these different celebrities, right? They're people too. They are going through things too. They are people. Just because they're a celebrity does not exclude them from mental health issues and the challenges of life.
Maybe even more. It's more pressure on them. They have way more.
So.
They have to be on more. I get tired when I have a busy week of networking, let alone taking pictures, and I got to do this, and then I'm gonna wear my hair this way, and then I got to do this. It's a whole thing, and then they're dealing with regular life stuff just like everybody else. That's why I don't idolize celebrities like that. Like if I go somewhere and I want to take a picture with somebody or whatever, like, oh look, there goes so and so, that's cool. But in real life, the way I think about celebrities, I don't idolize. They're regular just like anybody else. I really don't like aspire to be that. Honestly, I aspire to be the one behind the scenes that, you know, I could go attend certain things if I want to. Yes. But the check is just way fatter on the back end.
I'm with that. and I don't have to be in the public's eye, because, you know, when you're in the public's eye, it's ridicule, right? I mean, just think about kind of jumping topics. We got Meg and Cardi, right? So
cancel culture.
Yeah. They're being nasty, and I mean,
wait. We have to come back and talk about that. We got to have a whole conversation.
That's a separate subject.
Let's get back.
Yes,
but yes.
So the low grade depression, kind of pushing through that, and the reason I brought up Meg is because she had gone through something, right, where she was in some controversy, and she wasn't on social media for a while because she was dealing with what she had to go through. Yes. And I'm like, they are people too.
Michelle,
and they are going through that.
She mentioned that, and it was just so real, because I'm like, that's just being honest. I think a lot of us are dealing with that and not knowing what that is. We just don't know. We just don't have the words around what it is. But my energy has been way different since this thing
me too
started, and I couldn't pinpoint and say anything, you know, other than the lack of interaction with people from the outside world, you know, other than your family and stuff like that. There's a lot of benefits to the reflection and the clarity and things that we can get this year. I heard some other podcasters talking about, you know, we talked about 2020 being the year of vision and all this and that. It is.
He set us down to give us vision.
It is living up to its name. It is giving us a lot of clarity on who's in our life and why they're there and should they stay there, and how important is it for me to do these things or whatever. All that, it is clarity. And I do appreciate that part of what this year has brought us, because even the depression or all those things, it's highlighting areas that I need to work on this. I noticed some things about myself where I was like, that's an insecurity. You need to figure out what's up with that. You know, why that bothers you or whatever. So I'm learning a lot, and I don't take what I'm learning as a negative. Like, we gotta, just because you find something out about yourself doesn't mean you need to say, and now I'm a bad person because of it. No, fix it. Go get some therapy. Go call your pastor or whoever you need to go to get the help you need to heal. We need to be healing. Take this time as a healing time.
I agree. And, you know, we were listening to, I don't know who, if it was Darius Daniels, it was like, we have to fix the broken people. And that's what it is. Like,
I'm going to tell you the quote.
Tell me the quote.
He said, you can't fix a broken relationship until you heal broken people.
Ooh.
Come on, somebody. That was a whole message. I ain't gonna get it.
That was.
But he was talking about like healing your personal injuries. He's doing 11 basketball series, and he talked about don't play injured and how you need to focus on healing those injuries before you play the game.
And that's true. Yeah. I mean, that's just like if an NBA player gets injured, they can't go out there and play basketball. They have to completely heal before they can get put back in the game. And so I think a lot of times we'll get out of one game because we're broken and we haven't healed from that game. And then we go back into a new game and we're still injured. So
you
that's just
limping
like playing on a broken ankle.
You limping.
Right. You can't bring your full self to the game because you haven't healed that broken ankle or whatever it is, right?
ACL. You got ACL injuries and you out here trying to, if you don't go sit down for a year
and take that time to build, condition, whatever it is. And I think this is the year
yes.
of conditioning.
And I love it because I am the type of person that I might beat myself up about something, but it's quickly that I'll be like, all right, well, oh, well, that happened. So moving on, what we going to do different,
right.
Or whatever, or just, it is what it is.
You just have a different perspective and mindset. And I think that just comes from the growth mindset. You're like, okay, well, what can I do different? And I think a lot of people need to change their mindsets.
Yeah, I think we do. We got to just open it up. I think even like, okay, and I don't know if you're ready to jump there, but I had a couple things about the Michelle Obama podcast I want to talk about because I be taking notes, y'all. Like, so it's just certain stuff. When I hear something, I'm like, I want to remember that. Let me go back. Right. So while I was walking today, I was listening to Michelle Obama's podcast, and one of the episodes she had with Michelle Norris, her friend. And it was two things that she said. She said, this is very relevant for us and our listeners. She said, don't reach for normal, reach for better. That was one quote that she mentioned about just like how we're trying to be like back to normal and all that. Yes. No, we're going better now. Like we talked about the schools. We talked about all that. We need better. We need to do better than whatever we were doing before this pandemic. We saw that we had some areas that were not able to translate over to this new situation. So we need to be looking for better and ways to innovate and ways to do, life just different. The other thing, you tell me what you think about this. She said, and I don't know if this was an exact quote because I wrote it right after she said it. So I hope this is exactly the same as what she said. The strong Black woman trope is a cement necklace that we are supposed to wear as pearls.
Oh,
I was like,
which kind of goes into what we're talking about though, and what we've been talking about is the weight that's put on the Black woman.
It's like she said, it's like they just throw, it's like anything you throw at us, we gonna just handle it. But that ain't something that we want. We don't want it. We don't want it.
And we're tired.
We are tired.
And a lot of this comes through, like, I think I shared with you that my body was hurting. You have to listen to your body because it will come through and it will tell you, it'll hit you like a ton of bricks.
Mm-hmm.
And you will have to go and sit down and you're like, what is this? And I sometimes feel like it's because we're carrying so much. And you've talked about this before, like that person who was accomplished or doing things, they're taking care of everything and everybody and everyone's coming to them. And it's like, to me, who heals the healer? The healer has to go and restore. So I'm like, I'm over here trying to restore and nourish and nurture myself. Like, I'm tired.
I'm over here like, yes.
I'm tired. It's like I know this is so cliche and people say this. It's like you cannot pour from an empty cup, and you can't. If everyone's pouring, like, all right, I'm gonna get a little bit of this and let me get a little bit of this, you have nothing in your cup.
And you just giving it out to everybody.
Giving it out to everyone.
And you can't do nothing for yourself. And I'm not that person. I think I have been that. And what I do though is like when I do like kind of push back, and if I get any attitude, I definitely stand up for my decision on that. It's like I started, like I mentioned this a lot with my kids. I started that when they were little, very little, to where people would be like, dang. I'm like, no, I'm teaching them at a young age that
boundaries.
Right at this moment, I'm doing something. When I get done, I'm not just stopping. My kids laugh now. It's like a joke to them to be like, no, we want you to stop what you're doing so you can help us. That helps them realize like, that's what you're asking me. So I want you to know right now, I'm busy doing something that is important to me. And when I get done, I'll let you know when I'm available to do your thing. But I'm not just stopping every little oh my God, you need something? Let me run over here and go do your thing. No, you can wait.
And that's the best practice to do it on your family, right? Mm-hmm. Boundaries, because then you can do it to people who aren't your family. I have to do it to my own child. And she's struggling with her job. I've had to say, hey, I misreading my Bible plan because you were talking about him. Like, you interrupted my whole morning routine over someone who isn't going to matter in a year from now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing, is like, you have to assess, will this matter in 3 months, 3 years, 3 months, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months? You have to figure out what battles you want to fight.
And teach your kids how to go to God with that. I'm going to pray with you and for you. I'm going to be here for you and all that. But there's some things that this is the time for you now to learn how to pray your own prayers, because my prayers is not going to save you. You got to save you. You got to do that with you and God. That is not me. And that's going to be with some of your friends too, when they come in to want to vent and tell you everything. I could take that at certain points. And at some points, I'll be like, I just can't handle hearing your problem right now, to be honest with you, which is why he said he's the father to the fatherless and friend and all these things, that you should go to him first and then come to me when you got the, once y'all had that talk, then we could talk.
Yes.
But yeah, anyway, love Michelle Obama's podcast. Great nuggets in there. I wish I was, we were getting produced by Spotify and they were helping us do all the stuff, because it was just so clean. And
it was, I really enjoyed it. And, she's a girl of the South Side. And I also she brought up another good point, because the one about the cement pearls, I think I kind of missed it, but I do remember the other about the new normal. Mm-hmm. But she brought up a good point in terms of, and we talked about this earlier this week, then versus now. Like, then we didn't have social media, so I feel like we didn't have to worry about things being so public, right?
Yeah. There's good and bad to it, though. I think there's good and bad, because I was listening to that. I heard her, and I'm like, we've evolved. We have to continue to evolve with everything else that's evolving. So, like, we'll have all this innovation and social media and technology and everything, but then the schools are still teaching the same old thing, the old way, the same old same old system, same old everything. So I think that's another piece of what COVID has brought into the story, which is y'all gonna have to change everything.
Yeah, I do love technology for that aspect, because without technology, we wouldn't have the video for George Floyd and any other, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely a different time. And, we're working with reality TV versus back in the day, right? I told you I get up in the morning, I watch an episode of What's Happening every morning. Something basic. I'm like, I just want to go back to the basics for a bit, right?
I know.
So
they put Moesha and Girlfriends and The Game and all that back on Netflix. So, like, I'm definitely gonna be going back, looking at some old. It's for nostalgia, it helps you kind of connect back with your childhood and your, where you were in your life, during that time.
I did see that, and I was glad to see that.
I was too. I said, "Come on, y'all, we about to watch Mo to the E to the." They were like, "I'm good. I don't want to see that." Marvin, he's so horrible, because he always talks about the quality whenever I show him old stuff. He was like, "Look at this. Look at the video. It's glitchy." I'm like, you know what? They didn't have HD back then.
Think about it. We did that too with like the previous generation, like the black and white.
He be hating on the way the video
quality.
Yes, he's like, this is not HD. Oh man. Anyway,
evolution.
Right. Yeah.
So, let's talk about this new song with
WAP,
Megan Cardi. Yep. Are you ready,
girl?
So there's a lot of controversy about it.
Tell me the controversy, because that's the part I think I'm missing. I haven't seen.
First of all, they're saying that it's inappropriate, right? The song.
For what?
Vulgar. Pretty vulgar.
For who?
It depends on who you're asking.
That's why
So
I'm getting to
so
the
again,
I want to
exactly. Again, it's a matter of opinion, right? And so there's some women, there's some men who saying it's nasty. So men can rap about it and it's cool, but the moment that a woman raps about it, she's a HOE.
so
She's vulgar. She's
those
not a
who
lady.
let's back up for a second. If you want to know what we're talking about and you haven't heard of what WAP is, go just put WAP into your iTunes, your Spotify, or your I don't know if Tidal doesn't have it. Wherever you listen to music, it is vulgar. Okay, so just get your ears ready for very explicit lyrics. How about that?
Yeah, but they mix it on an old school song that we listened to back in the day.
There's
right?
Yes, because I was feeling it. I'm not gonna lie. I really enjoyed
I'm
this
feeling
song.
it.
I enjoyed the song because I felt, and I expected once I heard it, I was like, it's gonna be some dudes hating.
Yep.
That's always the case. They never want us to have our own kind of empowerment. This is these women's empowerment moment. They felt like, you know what, we're gonna just literally pull the covers off, right? And
literally
just go there, right? And I enjoyed it. Now,
I enjoyed it. You know, I hit you with it. I was like, go listen.
There are various amounts of songs out there that are for different moods. If y'all, I've already pubbed Cousin Mitri on Apple Music. Go to his page and you will have a plethora of from jazz to gospel to the Bad Bees playlist.
Look, you could throw it in a circle or you could clap in a circle, depending on what you want to do.
Whatever you want to do, any kind of music. So there's a music for every mood that you're in. I think that is for a specific type of mood. Number one, Cardi B is a married woman. She's talking about what she want to do. She got a husband. She, exactly. she can say whatever she want to say. And I don't understand why people get offended by what other people are saying about themselves. Like, she talking about herself. It ain't like she's saying, all women need to be doing this thing.
Exactly.
She's like, this is what I want. This is what I like. This is how I do. Why are you mad at that? I don't get it. Don't listen. Do you know how much stuff I don't listen to? You know how much stuff I don't even know exists? Because I'm not interested. When I'm not interested, I don't go there. Don't go there. Don't make it like you're exploiting women and all that. Stop. This is their thing.
And I was glad to see Meg and Cardi collaborate, right?
I love
and they were like the top, I want to say it was the top producing downloaded Shazam.
It was
song.
number one on iTunes. I don't know.
Yes. And so to see that happen, and you think about it, Meg has pretty much collaborated with everyone. Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B. That girl is smart.
City Girls.
Yes. So to me, she's a great collaborator, and it's showing that there's room for everyone at the table, right? To make money.
And here's what, even on top of all that, now, if you go to the video version, which is not as vulgar for those who may want to just look at the video, it's a sexy video, but they also featured other female artists that are rappers and singers and stuff like that. There were about 5 other Black women artists that got cameos in the video.
Yes, I love that.
So I listened to an interview with Cardi and some of those ladies, and they talk about how she reached out to them. She was like, they were like, why did you give your platform, to people who aren't really like, she's like, I like their music. Like, I'm not going to act like I don't listen. I listen to them. Like, I like their stuff. So I'm going to, if I can help, I'm going to do that. This is very similar to what we just talked about earlier. You got people who are connecting with each other, supporting each other, collaborating with each other, looking out for somebody who you're like, hey, I know that in this industry, it's not many of us. So I can see when you're out there doing your thing, I'm like, dang, she's probably going through something that I could help be a mentor for. This is what we're talking about. So just because the subject matter is not what you want to hear.
Correct.
And honestly, the men who out here hating, they want it. They want it all. They want everything about the song. They want it in real life. So, anywho,
if they did, they wouldn't be coming for it.
She said one thing Cardi did say about that. She said, people will be talking about her and the music and how it's not, she said there are a lot of conscious rappers out there. There's a lot of rappers that talk about the Black community. They talk about, empowerment in a specific way. You can go listen to them. They're not you, but she said, but the thing about it is not as many people are streaming their music. They streaming my music. So why are you mad? Because should you be mad at me because y'all want to hear what I'm saying? Or
she's right. I mean, it's like it's diversity in music. It is diversity in music.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm here for it. I'm
gonna be honest with you. I went on a joyride just so I could listen to it. And I kept hitting repeat.
I did too.
So I mean, that's just me. I liked it. It doesn't make me any less of a person, and I will still listen to gospel music.
Exactly, because everything. Listen, I'm not married. I'm not having sex right now. I am celibate. But when I am, I'll be listening to this with my husband. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Well, and this is a great segue into what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And we'll elaborate on this more in depth, but what's coming up this Thursday on August 13th is Black Women's Equal Pay Day. Yeah. And so I like how you brought the point up about Cardi B bringing other people to the table. So basically she's saying, well, look, I make this money. I can showcase you so that you can then be exposed and you can have an opportunity to make the same money. And I know you sent me a video last week. I can't remember. Oh, it was about selecting a Black woman for vice president. Mm-hmm. Right. And so one of the statistics that the young lady brought up is that 68% of Black women are hourly.
Yeah.
So not only are it takes about Equal Pay Day is the approximate day a Black woman must work into the new year to make what a white non-Hispanic man makes at the end of the previous year.
So a white non-Hispanic male at the end of December 2019, it took us till August 13th,
2020,
to make what the average person made. White male.
That's 8 months into the year.
Yeah. And for Hispanic women and indigenous women, it is like November and October. It's like right after us, October and November, I think. Which I'm just like.
So first of all, we're underpaid. Mm-hmm. And so we need more women to do what a Cardi and a Meg are doing.
Collaborate, bring other women on. Because one thing, and it's crazy because I keep on going back to what Cardi said, because she said, this isn't going to stop. There's going to be more women coming up behind us. So like, why are we trying to act like it don't help you to just be at the top and not help nobody? Like, why would you not bring someone else on? Like, if any young woman or grown woman, I don't care what they are, comes to me and they are looking at me like, hey, you have, I want to learn from you. I'm going to do whatever I can to give them the information that you don't have to repeat what I went through. You don't have to go through what I go through. I reach out. I'm going to try to get Jacqueline on next week if we can.
Okay, good.
Because she would be perfect to talk about this. She wrote a whole book called Don't Leave Money on the Table. And it's for women, in these male-dominated industries, which is almost every industry in my mind. But we got to take that into our own hands and help each other. Because, like, if I'm talking to you and I'll be like, we're still acting like we don't want each other to know how much money we make and all that. It's like, how am I gonna know if I'm getting done wrong? You know, yeah, I should probably
know what my potential is as well. How do I know if I'm being compensated well? How do I know if I need to maybe negotiate more? If we keep it a secret.
Yeah, so I think we got to get back into that. Going back to Michelle's podcast, get back to the community of the thing where we're actually saying, let me bring you under my wing, Kiara. You want to go to school and learn business? I have a master's degree in business administration. I work in this field. You could be, you know, helping me and learning how to do this thing before you even get over there. You know, while you're in college, you can be doing your own little internship, you know, or whatever. Like we could be doing that with each other.
Minimize the number of steps that you had to take, right? So it's kind of like agile. Like let's go through and see. And when I work and when I'm doing things and when I'm advocating, I'm thinking about the next generation because they shouldn't have to go through what I went through.
Yes. When I started less steps. My first job, I was 14 years old. I was filing papers. I was doing data entry. I was doing inventory. I was answering phone calls in a office, like a maintenance department of a city housing authority. But these are things that I started learning that, oh, okay. And then when I moved to the next job, it's like, oh, do you know how to do filing? Yep, I know how to do filing because I did this at my last job. You know, like you start building upon your skill set in different things. We need to be trying to figure out how we can do that and teach. Because a lot of us right now, we talk about how Black women have been educated. We're going into corporate. The ones that are in the corporate space and in these different industries, trying to figure out ways that we can help those that are coming up to learn these things. You got Minda's book, Memo, that teach you about the office politics, about the negotiation, about the, you know, all the things that you need to do in order to thrive in this space. But it's so crazy because even with this whole COVID and 2020 and all, everything is changed. It's constant evolution. It's not stopping to be like, hey, okay, here. And now learn how to do it. And then when you go, it's going to be just like that. No, it's going to keep changing. So you got to like change and move at the same time, basically.
Really?
Changing and moving, changing and moving, and learning all at the same time.
It's like your continuous improvement, and it's also refining. You made a great point. You know, while we're pushing ahead, we should be pulling someone behind us. Mm-hmm. So always have somebody that you're pulling up behind you, and there's really room at the table for everyone. Like, don't feel like, oh, if I bring her in, she's going to take my job.
Add a seat.
Yep.
Just add another chair. Add another chair. It's something that we're like that we want for the diversity thing. Like, if you got a whole thing, board of all white guys, they need to either scoot over or somebody needs to, and that's the part, that's the heart that Michelle mentioned that too. And her, hang I feel like everything is coming from everybody saying the same thing, but somebody either has to get out of the seat or add a chair, basically. So we need to start adding chairs as much as possible until it looks the way it needs to look, basically.
I mean, look at Serena's husband. Remember, he stepped down from his role so that someone of diversity could take that role. So it just goes back to what you said, like give up your seat.
Yeah.
You offer up your seat or you bring another seat to the table.
Or what is it? Michelle has a new book out. I know it's coming out. It said, no thanks, wait, what is her book called? It's called No Thanks, I'll Just Start My, what is it called? No thanks, I'll just start my own or something like that.
I think it was something about
I'll just include myself. That's what it said. It's called Seven Ways to Say No Thanks, I'll Just Include Myself. A guide to rockstar leadership for women of color in the workplace. That's her. Y'all can order that on paperback on Amazon. I think it's coming out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll have to check that out. Shout out to El Michelle.
But yeah, so it's a lot of information out there on how I think that just in our own spaces, we need to figure out in my life, where can I give back to someone, help someone, be kind to someone. You know, because this whole thing of just trying to take care of you and yours is cool, but it don't help the greater good of where we're going, right? It's like, yes, I feel like I'm a person where we were so poor and broke that I'm like, look, I need some money. Like, I got to get out of here, and then I could like, give something back. I have nothing to give. So I can't, sometimes you just need to get up out of the
so you
thing,
can
right?
get, yeah.
And then
and
once
you might go through a season of getting so that you can prepare to give in your next season.
Yeah, it's just like any of these, like Oprah and these celebrities and all that. They had to get to a place where they could give, right? They had to get to a place. They built their careers or built their whatever so that they can have enough resources to be able to give back. So everywhere in your life, I think we all have a place where we can do that. We can, even if it's just the little girl next door or your friend's child or somebody from church or whatever. We got to start building that village back. We need the village back because that's how we're going to thrive.
And
in my
not just
opinion.
merely survive. I agree.
Exactly.
I agree. So I think that pretty much wraps up what we have. Hopefully, we can get Jacqueline on the podcast so we can kind of go more in depth about that.
Yes.
And kind of talk about negotiation, because how to negotiate, the importance of it, because it's not part of the curriculum in college where they're taking all of your money and have you just take out all these student loans. I definitely think that needs to be top of some type of course or a part of a class where you talk about how to get your coins.
So we need to learn that way before we need to learn that in high school. We need to learn that.
It's a skill. It's a skill too. And you need to start negotiating simple things. I told you I'm always up for negotiation. Everything is negotiable.
Exactly.
Everything.
Everything.
Can you give me extra tomatoes and not charge me if I replace that with that? Like, why do you have to upcharge me?
Start small.
Start small, work your way up.
Small. Start with, well, the first thing I would say is to warm you up is to go get Jacqueline Twilley's book, Don't Leave Money on the Table. It is on Amazon. A book that I'm in the middle of rereading now is Never Split the Difference. That is a really, really good book. They're both are really good on just the Never Split the Difference. To me is more about the psychology behind how negotiation really can be effective. And the way he describes it is negotiation is basically communication with results, because you are getting to the yes with the person at the end of the day. How you get there is a skill set. To get me and you to agree on something, first of all, it has to be something that we disagree on, right? Something that somebody has to say no about something first before we even get to a point of saying negotiate. But there is a journey that you go on to get to the point where we both feel good about the end result of this conversation. So between that book and Jacqueline's book, I feel like it gives you a lot of tactical and strategic ways that you can learn how to be effective at communicating what you want, what you need, how it needs to be, and working with somebody. So yes. We don't want to be the strong Black women all the time. We just, yes, God has blessed us to be this, but we are not trying to wear that and post it
carry the weight
anywhere. It's too much. I'm sorry, I can't. I don't want it. I don't either. I don't want it. I want to be able to sit back and let somebody else handle things. That's where I'm at right now. Like, I really am tired. I'm tired. So I think that's where the emotional thing is coming from, what we were talking about earlier.
It is.
I'm tired, y'all. I ain't gonna lie.
That's what it probably is. I told you I did not get out of the bed till 1:00 today. I like just switch positions.
My girlfriends are coming over in a few minutes. We haven't seen each other in a while. We're about to post up in my backyard. I'm about to put my little tent up and just like, we need to catch up. And I'm like, you know what? I think I needed like
interaction.
Like some friends
outside of your kids and your mom. You need that friend interaction. I agree. I think my saving grace has been I am going to work out outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps with the endorphins, but you still need that friend time.
Exactly. You definitely need it. Yeah, you need it. So
you might need to just, I think the call to action, we have a couple of things. Top of mind that I would like to say is give yourself patience and grace.
That's going to be just every week.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
find your peace, whatever that is. It might be normalizing, hey, even though there is a Zoom meeting, I'm sorry I can't make it. I'm at capacity. And that's okay. And hopefully whoever it is, they respect it. I think
if not,
for me, I need to find a way to play, right? Because play is joy sometimes. Play therapy, adult play. And so I'm like, what do I need to do once a week? Something once a week. I really need to start going to the golf range and hit some balls.
Well, call me, girl, because I'll be needing to go get my sling.
Well, perhaps we could go one Sunday morning. Maybe we'll pivot and do it once a month, because that's something different. You need to find something different. And then I love what you said about just be kind.
Be kind. It goes a long way. We talked about if you want to find friends, you must first find yourself friendly. You got to give that first. Give the friendliness out first. You'll be surprised at how much it comes back in return just by being nice to people. Right. It really goes a long way. Thank you guys who've been supporting us. You guys have been amazing. Last week we had a bunch of people that bought shirts. And so that's awesome. So if you would like a Bold Black Girl t-shirt, go to boldblackgirls.com. Make sure you rate and review the episode, share it with a friend, and send us any questions that you might have about things or topics that you want us to talk about or people you want us to interview on here. Any final words, Kim?
No final words. Just find your peace. Yes. Oh, one last word. It is Black Business Month, so be sure you continue to support.
Business
Month.
Black Business Month. Okay, so supporting Black businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like that. I mean, I feel like that needs to be all the time, but
I do too. But
same thing when we talk about Black History Month. That should be all the time. But focus. It's a focus.
5 days.
Focus.
It is.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
Black business.
Support a Black business, and if you got time tomorrow, come to the event that I will be moderating, the panel for how to be the connector in 2020. All right. Have a bold week. See ya.